What happens when the quietest man in Hollywood walks onto one of the loudest stages on daytime television, and instead of smiles and soft applause, the air turns heavy, the questions turn sharp, and calm words begin to land like thunder. The studio lights of The View glow brighter than usual that morning, washing over the polished desk, the neatly arranged cue cards, the audience buzzing with expectation. Keanu Reeves sits at the far end of the table, hands folded loosely, posture relaxed but alert, like someone who has learned to be still in the middle of storms. He wears a simple dark jacket, no flashy colors, no need to demand attention. His presence alone does that. The audience applauds warmly when his name is announced, a genuine kind of applause, the kind reserved for someone people feel they know, even if they've never met him. Before the conversation even begins, before the first question is asked, before a single word of tension is spoken, let me ask you something. If you love deep, dramatic stories like this one, stories that pull you inside moments you thought you already knew, make sure you subscribe to the Narration Show, hit like, and drop a comment right now, because this story is only just beginning. Whoopi Goldberg smiles as the applause fades, leaning back in her chair with practiced ease. She has done this thousands of times. She has seen politicians squirm, actors deflect, musicians crack. Her voice is calm, almost friendly, but there's an edge beneath it, something sharpened by years of debate and belief. Keanu, it's good to have you here, she says, nodding toward him. People love you. They really do. Keanu smiles softly, a small dip of the head. Thank you, he says. His voice is low, steady. I'm grateful to be here. At first, everything feels safe. The hosts joke about his films, his reputation as Hollywood's nicest guy, the stories of him giving up seats on subways and quietly donating millions. The audience laughs. Keanu chuckles politely, brushing off praise with the ease of someone uncomfortable being put on a pedestal. But then the conversation shifts. It always does. Whoopi leans forward, folding her hands on the table. The smile fades just a fraction. You've been very open about living life on your own terms, she says. About not following the usual Hollywood path. No marriage, no kids. Some people see that as inspiring. Others see it as avoiding responsibility. A murmur ripples through the audience. Keanu doesn't react immediately. He blinks once, slowly, as if choosing not just words, but timing. I don't think responsibility looks the same for everyone, he replies. I think it's about how you treat people, how you show up. Sunny Hostin tilts her head, sensing something brewing. But don't you think, she adds, that public figures have a responsibility to model certain values? Family, commitment, stability. Keanu's fingers tighten slightly, then relax. It's a small movement, barely noticeable, but the camera catches it. I think, he says carefully, that modeling kindness, respect, and empathy matters more than fitting into a single definition of life. Whoopi exhales through her nose, not quite a sigh, not quite a laugh. That sounds nice, she says, but some people would say it's a luxury perspective, that not everyone gets to opt out. The word opt hangs in the air, sharp and loaded. The audience shifts in their seats. This is no longer a light interview. This is a line being drawn. Keanu turns his gaze toward Whoopi, fully now, no evasiveness. His expression doesn't harden, but it deepens. I didn't opt out of pain, he says quietly. I didn't opt out of loss. Life made choices for me too. There it is. The room stills. Even the audience seems to stop breathing. Everyone knows his story. The child he lost. The partner he lost. The years of grief carried in silence. Whoopi knows it too. Her eyes flicker, but she doesn't pull back. I'm not talking about pain, she says. I'm talking about privilege. Keanu nods once. So am I. The tension thickens, invisible but heavy, like a storm cloud pressing low over the table. The director likely signals from behind the cameras, but no one breaks in. This is real now. This is the moment they won't cut for commercials. Privilege, Keanu continues, his voice still calm, almost gentle, isn't just about what you have. It's about what you do with it. I don't believe my life choices make me less responsible to the world. I believe they make me more aware of it. Whoopi crosses her arms, her body language shifting from host to challenger. But when people look up to you, she says, don't you worry they'll think detachment is the answer. That walking alone is somehow better. Keanu pauses. He looks down for a brief second, as if checking in with himself, then back up. Walking alone isn't better, he says. It's just honest. And honesty is what saved me. The audience gasps softly. A few nods. A few frowns. This is dividing them already. Joy Behar jumps in, trying to lighten the mood but only adding friction. So you're saying everyone should just do whatever feels right? Keanu smiles faintly. I'm saying everyone should do whatever allows them to be kind without pretending. Whoopi raises an eyebrow. And you don't think pretending is sometimes necessary? For society. That word again. Society. Big, heavy, abstract. Keanu leans back slightly, not retreating, just grounding himself. Pretending kept me silent when I needed help, he says. Pretending told me grief should be hidden, that strength meant smiling. I don't want to pass that on. For the first time, Whoopi looks genuinely unsettled. Not angry, not defensive. Thoughtful, but challenged. The audience senses it too. The energy shifts, subtle but undeniable. So what do you want people to take from you? She asks. Keanu answers without hesitation. That it's okay to be quiet. That it's okay to say I don't know. That it's okay to build a life that doesn't look like applause. A beat passes. Then another. The silence is loud. Sunny clears her throat. This is deeper than I expected, she says softly. Keanu nods. Life usually is. The camera zooms slightly closer, capturing the lines in his face, the sincerity in his eyes. This isn't a man performing humility. This is someone who has lived inside questions with no easy answers. Whoopi finally uncrosses her arms. I respect that, she says, though her tone still holds firmness. But I still believe public figures shape culture, whether they want to or not. Keanu meets her gaze. Then maybe shaping culture starts with listening, he replies. Not just speaking. A low murmur runs through the audience. Some clap, hesitant at first, then stronger. Others remain silent, arms folded, wrestling with what they've heard. The clash isn't loud. There's no shouting, no insults. But the power of it lies in restraint, in words chosen carefully and delivered without armor. This is not a fight of volume. It's a collision of worldviews. As the segment moves toward a break, the tension doesn't fade. It lingers, sitting between Keanu and Whoopi like an unanswered question. The audience knows this isn't over. The hosts know it too. And Keanu, calm as ever, sits quietly, hands folded once more, as if preparing for the next wave. Because what happens next won't just challenge opinions. It will test beliefs, stir old wounds, and force the room to decide whether calm can be more powerful than confrontation. The cameras fade briefly to commercial, but the tension doesn't leave the room. It lingers like static in the air, crawling across the studio, settling into the audience's shoulders, tightening jaws, shallow breaths. Keanu Reeves remains seated, unmoving, staring somewhere just past the bright lights, as if the pause gives him space to steady something deep inside. Across the table, Whoopi Goldberg adjusts her glasses, her expression unreadable, her mind clearly still turning over the words he left hanging. When the red light flicks back on, applause cues flash, but the clapping is uneven now. Some hands come together enthusiastically, others reluctantly, and some not at all. The atmosphere has changed. This is no longer a feel-good celebrity appearance. This is a conversation people will argue about later. Whoopi straightens, reclaiming the rhythm of the show. We're back, she says, voice composed, professional. And we're still here with Keanu Reeves. Keanu nods politely toward the audience, offering a small smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. There's a weight behind them now, a sense that something personal has been stirred and cannot simply be tucked away. You said something before the break, Whoopi continues, about honesty saving you. I want to go back to that. Keanu inhales slowly. Okay. What did you mean by that? She asks. Because a lot of people watching might hear that and think it sounds idealistic. Keanu's jaw tightens just a fraction. I meant, he says carefully, that pretending I was fine nearly destroyed me. That pretending I was strong enough on my own kept me isolated. Honesty wasn't pretty. It wasn't inspirational. It was uncomfortable. Joy leans forward. But you're Keanu Reeves, she says. You're successful, wealthy, admired. Most people don't have that safety net. Keanu turns toward her, not defensive, just direct. Pain doesn't check your bank account, he replies. Grief doesn't care about fame. The audience murmurs again. A woman in the front row wipes at her eye. Somewhere else, someone crosses their arms tighter. Sunny jumps in, her tone measured but probing. Do you think Hollywood sells a lie about happiness? She asks. Keanu doesn't answer right away. He looks around the studio, the polished set, the smiling faces on posters, the illusion of ease. I think, he says slowly, it sells an image. And images don't bleed. The words land hard. Whoopi's lips press together. So you're saying we're complicit? She asks. People like us. Shows like this. Keanu shifts in his seat, clearly aware of where he is. I'm saying we all play roles, he replies. Some of us forget when we're allowed to step out of them. There's a pause. It's subtle, but the balance of power feels different now. Keanu isn't the guest being examined. He's part of the examination. Whoopi tilts her head. You know, she says, I've been through my share of loss too. And what got me through was community. People. Structure. Keanu nods. That saved me too, he says softly. But it found me when I stopped pretending I didn't need it. That sentence hangs heavy. The audience grows quieter, leaning in, sensing confession beneath the calm. So what worries me, Whoopi says, voice firmer now, is that people hear your story and think isolation is the answer. That withdrawing is strength. Keanu shakes his head gently. Withdrawing kept me alive long enough to heal, he says. It wasn't the destination. It was the bridge. The metaphor lands, but not everyone crosses it easily. Joy scoffs lightly. That sounds poetic, she says, but real life doesn't always allow bridges. Keanu's eyes flick to her. Real life didn't allow me choices either, he says, not unkindly. It forced me to find them. A ripple of reaction moves through the crowd. Applause breaks out, hesitant at first, then louder, fuller. Whoopi raises a hand slightly, signaling calm, but she doesn't hide the fact that she feels the room tilting. Let me ask you something, she says, leaning forward. Do you think men, especially famous men, get praised for behavior women would be criticized for? Being distant, being quiet, being alone. The question cuts sharp. This is no longer just about Keanu. It's about culture, gender, double standards. The audience stiffens. Keanu doesn't rush. He considers. Yes, he says finally. I do. Whoopi's eyes narrow, curious now. Then doesn't that mean your story risks reinforcing that imbalance? Keanu nods slowly. It could, he admits, if it's told without context. And who controls that context? Sunny asks. Keanu glances at the cameras. All of us, he says, including the audience. The implication is clear. Responsibility doesn't rest on one man's choices. It rests on interpretation, conversation, honesty. Whoopi leans back, exhaling. You're very good at this, she says. Staying calm. Saying just enough. Keanu offers a faint smile. I'm not trying to win, he says. I'm trying to be clear. The audience reacts to that line with scattered applause. Someone shouts, tell them. Another shakes their head in disagreement. The divide is real now, visible. But clarity isn't neutral, Whoopi presses. Your calm can feel like dismissal to people who are angry for good reason. Keanu meets her gaze steadily. Anger deserves to be heard, he says. But calm doesn't mean I don't care. It means I don't want to add more noise. For a brief moment, no one speaks. The studio feels smaller, tighter, as if everyone is sharing the same breath. Joy breaks the silence. So what do you do with anger? She asks. Yours. Other people's. Keanu's voice drops slightly. You sit with it, he says. You don't weaponize it. And you don't pretend it makes you right. That line hits hard. A few gasps. A few sharp exhales. Whoopi's expression shifts again, something like reluctant respect mixed with unresolved challenge. You're asking for a lot of patience, she says. Keanu nods. I know, he replies. I ask it of myself every day. As the segment nears its end, the director's cues grow more urgent, but no one wants to wrap it neatly. This conversation resists tidy conclusions. Whoopi turns to the camera. We're going to take another break, she says, then looks back at Keanu. But when we come back, I want to talk about responsibility again. Because I'm not done with that. Keanu inclines his head. Neither am I. The audience buzzes as the applause sign flashes again. Some stand. Some whisper to each other. Some stare straight ahead, processing what they've just witnessed. As the lights dim for commercial, Keanu exhales slowly, eyes closing for half a second. Calm on the surface, but beneath it, something is clearly stirring. And when the conversation resumes, it won't just be about personal choices anymore. It will be about what we owe each other, and who gets to decide? When the show returns from break, the applause is louder, sharper, charged with expectation. This isn't polite clapping anymore. It's the sound of an audience bracing for impact. The producers know it. The hosts know it. Keanu Reeves feels it the moment he opens his eyes and lifts his head. The studio suddenly humming like a wire pulled too tight. Whoopi Goldberg doesn't waste time easing back in. You said something earlier, she begins, her voice steady but firm. About responsibility being shared. About all of us shaping the story. I want to push on that. Keanu nods once. That's fair. She leans forward, elbows on the table. Because there are people watching right now who don't have your platform, your money, or your freedom. And they are angry. Angry at systems, at inequality, at silence. When they see someone as influential as you choosing calm, choosing distance, it can feel like abandonment. The word abandonment ripples through the room. A few audience members murmur in agreement. Keanu's shoulders rise and fall with a measured breath. I understand that feeling, he says. I've felt abandoned by the world too. Whoopi's eyes flicker. But did the world owe you something? She asks. Keanu doesn't answer immediately. His gaze drifts to the audience, to faces etched with curiosity, skepticism, pain. No, he says finally. But I owe the world something. The room stills. What do you owe it? Sunny asks quietly. Presence, Keanu replies. Not performance. Not perfection. Presence. Joy scoffs under her breath. That sounds like a luxury answer again. Keanu turns toward her, unoffended but intent. It sounds like that if you think presence is passive, he says. It's not. It requires showing up without hiding behind slogans. A low hum of reaction spreads. Someone claps once, loudly. Others join in, uneven but sincere. Whoopi raises a hand, calming the audience. Let's talk about silence, she says. Because you're known for it. You don't tweet. You don't rant. You don't jump into every controversy. Some people see that as dignity. Others see it as avoidance. Keanu's lips press together briefly. Silence can be avoidance, he agrees. And it can be listening. The difference is intention. And who gets to judge that intention? Whoopi asks. Time, Keanu answers. And consequences. That answer lands heavier than expected. The audience quiets again, sensing the weight behind it. Let me be very direct, Whoopi says. When there are injustices happening, when voices are being ignored, do you believe staying calm is enough? Keanu looks at her fully now. No, he says. Calm is not enough. But chaos isn't either. Joy throws up her hands slightly. So what's the middle ground, Keanu? Because people are tired of waiting. Keanu's voice tightens, just a little. The middle ground is doing the work without turning it into theater, he says. It's helping without needing credit. It's listening even when the anger is aimed at you. A sharp intake of breath ripples through the audience. Someone whispers, wow. Sunny leans in. Have you ever been afraid that your approach lets people with power off the hook? She asks. Keanu's eyes darken, not with anger, but with seriousness. Yes, he says. That fear keeps me honest. Whoopi studies him now, no longer just as a host, but as someone measuring a belief system against her own. You know, she says slowly, a lot of people mistake passion for noise. And a lot of people mistake calm for apathy. Keanu nods. Both mistakes cost us, he says. The audience applauds again, louder this time. The divide remains, but so does respect. Joy shakes her head. I still think, she says, that being as beloved as you are gives you an obligation to speak louder. Keanu turns to her. And I think, he replies, that being loud all the time makes people stop listening. For the first time, a faint smile tugs at Whoopi's mouth. You're not wrong, she admits. But you're not entirely right either. Keanu returns the smile, just as faint. I can live with that. Laughter breaks out, releasing some of the tension, but it doesn't erase it. The conversation has shifted from confrontation to collision. Two strong philosophies pressing against each other without either yielding completely. Can I ask you something personal? Whoopi says suddenly. Keanu hesitates, then nods. Yes. When you lost what you lost, she says gently, did you ever feel angry at the world? The studio goes silent. Even the cameras seem to hold still. Keanu swallows. His voice, when it comes, is softer. Every day, he says. For a long time. And what did you do with that anger? She asks. Keanu looks down at his hands. I carried it, he says, until it was too heavy. Then I let it teach me. Teach you what? Sonny asks. That everyone is hurting, Keanu replies. And that adding more hurt, even in the name of justice, doesn't heal anything. The audience reacts audibly now. Some nod. Some shake their heads. Some wipe away tears. Joy sighs. I don't know if that's enough for the world we're living in, she says. Keanu looks back up. I don't know either, he admits. But it's the only way I know how to stay human. That word, human, echoes through the room. Whoopi sits back, hands folded. You know, she says, this isn't the conversation I expected today. Keanu smiles, a little weary now. Me neither. As the segment nears its final moments, the tension doesn't spike. It settles into something heavier, more reflective. This isn't about winning an argument anymore. It's about what kind of voices we value, and why. Whoopi turns to the camera. When we come back, she says, we'll wrap this up. But I think a lot of you at home are already having opinions. The audience applauds, louder than before, a mix of approval and unresolved questions. Keanu exhales slowly, eyes drifting shut for just a heartbeat. Calm still surrounds him, but it's no longer effortless. It's earned. And whatever comes next will decide how this moment lives beyond the studio, out there, in headlines, in comments, in arguments between strangers who never set foot on this stage. Because the quietest clashes often echo the longest. The final segment begins without the usual lightness. No jokes, no easy smiles. The applause is strong, but it carries a different texture now. Respect mixed with tension, curiosity tangled with disagreement. This is the sound of an audience that knows it has witnessed something that won't fade when the credits roll. Whoopi Goldberg looks into the camera first, then back at Keanu Reeves. Her voice is calm, but there's gravity behind it now. We're almost out of time, she says. And I don't think we're going to solve anything today. Keanu gives a small, knowing nod. I didn't expect to, he replies. But conversations like this matter, Whoopi continues. Especially when people disagree. Keanu meets her gaze. Especially then, he says. The audience reacts immediately. Applause, firm and unified for the first time all hour. Even those who disagreed with him seem to recognize the honesty of the moment. Whoopi turns fully toward him. I still believe public figures have a responsibility to speak up, she says. To be visible. To take sides. Keanu doesn't interrupt. He listens. And I still believe, she adds, that silence can feel like abandonment. Keanu inhales slowly. When he speaks, his voice is steady but deeper now, carrying the weight of everything that's come before. I hear that, he says. And I don't dismiss it. But I believe responsibility also means not pretending to have answers you don't. It means acting with care, even when no one is watching. Joy crosses her arms, then uncrosses them, conflicted. So you're saying your responsibility happens off camera, she says. Yes, Keanu replies simply. That's where most real things happen. Sonny nods slowly, thoughtful. I don't agree with everything you've said, she admits. But I believe you. That line shifts something. The audience responds with a low, sustained applause, not explosive, but sincere. Whoopi exhales, then smiles, not as a host now, but as someone acknowledging a moment. You're a hard man to argue with, she says. Not because you overpower the room, but because you don't. Keanu smiles back, tired but genuine. I've learned that raising my voice never brought me peace, he says. Listening sometimes does. The silence that follows is not awkward. It's reflective. Heavy in the best way. Whoopi turns to the audience. Whether you agree with him or not, she says, this is the kind of conversation we need more of. The camera cuts briefly to the crowd, some nodding, some whispering, some visibly emotional. A woman in the second row wipes tears from her cheek. A man behind her claps slowly, deliberately. As the show wraps, Whoopi faces Keanu one last time. Thank you for staying in this, she says. Not everyone would. Keanu inclines his head. Thank you for challenging me, he replies. It matters. The applause swells again as the credits approach. Keanu stands, shakes hands with the hosts. Whoopi holds his hand just a second longer than necessary. Not agreement, but respect. And then it's over. But outside the studio, the moment explodes. Clips of the exchange flood social media within minutes. Headlines clash just like the conversation did. Keanu Reeves silences the view with calm response. Fans divided after Keanu Reeves' quiet stand. Whoopi Goldberg challenges Hollywood's nicest man and loses. Comment sections ignite. Some praise Keanu's restraint, calling it wisdom, calling it strength. Others criticize him for not using his platform loudly enough, accusing him of hiding behind calm while the world burns. Debates rage late into the night. Threads spiral into arguments about anger, silence, responsibility, and what real courage looks like. And somewhere in the noise, the original moment remains unchanged. A man sitting calmly at a table, choosing his words carefully, refusing to turn conviction into performance. That's what makes it linger. Now I want to hear from you. Did Keanu Reeves handle this the right way? Was his calm more powerful than confrontation? Or did it fall short of what the moment demanded? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation doesn't end here. And if you want more intense, cinematic stories like this one, stories that dive deep into the moments everyone's talking about, subscribe to the Narration Show right now. Like the video, join the discussion, and stay with us for the next explosive story.